Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Dan Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. And let's talk about tonight's episode of NXT. First of all, let's be honest. Did you really think that Dark State? I know that on paper, Trick Williams, Obafemi, and Javon Evans, who would have done a lot better if they could get along, would have made a great team first challenge for Dark State. But come on, did you really think Dark State was going to lose in their first try? No. I know y'all wanted them to lose because we're from a kayfabe standpoint, but no, come on, guys. We know how this story goes too many times. We should know better. But of course, Dark State wins. However, they were not without a message from the D'Angelo family. And next week, they want to fight at the parking lot. Also, we opened up the show with Jada Parker and Jordan Grace going at it. However, there was no definitive winner because Jada Parker decided to let her hot, passionate personality get her into an intense moment where there was no decisive winner because she slapped guest commentator Stephanie Vakir, which led into a fight. Then Giulia, I meant to mention this last week. I really did think that, I meant to say last week that Giulia and Stephanie Vakir would make a great match for Stand and Deliver, a great rematch rather, because they had a good match in New York City a couple of Tuesdays ago, but they would make a great rematch. However, thanks to the fact that Giulia returned to wipe out both Jordan Grace and Jada Parker and then turn heel on her friend Stephanie Vakir has requested to have a fatal four-way match. So we got triple threat matches and fatal four-way matches coming up on WrestleMania season. It's not just a season of one-on-one matches anymore. But in any event, by the way, Trick Williams and Obafemi and Javon are going to have their own triple threat match. So it's triple threat matches on every card. So we're going to get a triple threat match on Saturday morning. We're going to get a triple threat Saturday main event because I think this will be the second time that Roman Reigns is main eventing a Saturday. And then we're going to probably get a triple threat match at WrestleMania with Rhea versus Io versus Bianca. Lots of threesomes going on around here. Moving forward, we're going to get a fatal four-way match because Giulia turned heel on us, which I'm not too surprised by because nobody likes to lose. Also, next week, we're going to get a fatal four-way match between All Ego Ethan Page, who ruined Ricky Stark's moment last week and attacked him again tonight. We're going to get Ethan Page, Lexis King, Wesley, and Eddie Thorpe. By the way, did y'all see the look on Wesley's face when Eddie Thorpe went there? And if you saw the whole episode, you know what I mean by he went there. But if we really want to go there, Mr. Thorpe, whipping Trick Williams in February. Just saying. But Eddie Thorpe went there, and Wesley was surprised. Like, whoa. No comment. But in any event, that's going to be a triple threat fatal four-way match next week. We don't know what's going on with Roxanne, Metaphor, amongst others, but we still have qualifiers for the Women's North American Championship, and the latest qualifier is Sol Roca, who snatched the soul of one of the members of Fatal Influence. And there seems to be dissension between Fatal Influence, which is funny because JC Jane loves to be a part of factions, trio factions. She feels better that way. JC Jane is like the X-Pac of this generation's women's division. And the reason I say that is because if you look at X-Pac back in the day, in my childhood, X-Pac was a part of the NWO and WCW. Then he came to WWE to be a part, or returned to WWE to be a part of D Generation X. Then when WCW went out of business and won the Monday Night Wars, X-Pac returned to the NWO to replace reborn Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Now, what's interesting is the fans turned on The Rock for Hogan. Nowadays, they're booing Hogan. So interesting. And it's so amazing because it seems like everyone we thought was our heroes is getting booed around. I mean, this year, Hulk Hogan returns to Raw, gets booed because God don't like ugly. The Rock, since becoming the final boss, is heel. John Cena is heel, while Randy Orton is face. By the way, speaking of Randy Orton, my well wishes to Kevin Owens. I wish him a speedy recovery. Unfortunately, we can't get Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens, but hopefully Randy Orton is still in action, probably against Nick Aldis after the RKO. By the way, if you remember, Randy Orton paid for the RKO months ahead of time when he paid double for his fine and said, oh no, that's for the next time I RKO you. So Nick Aldis should have known it was coming. So there will be no fine for Randy Orton. But in any event, very interesting episode of NXT. I still think Obafemi is going to win that triple threat main event at NXT, Stand and Deliver, live from Las Vegas. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts on tonight's episode of NXT. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Have a great week, everyone, and be sure to check out my recent short on WrestleMania Fantasy Warfare and tell me who wins, in your opinion. See you later. Have a good week.